Today I'm going to talk about one of the earliest skills that tell us if naiintindihan tayo ng bata even if hindi pa sila nakakapagsalita. So tara, usap tayo. Let's get talking. Hi! If you're new here, I'm Teacher Kaye and I'm a certified speech-language pathologist. Today, the skill that I'm going to teach you to teach to your kids is following commands. So usually, kasunod na ito ng responding to their name. Just in case yung anak nyo hindi pa nagre-respond to their name, I have a video about how to encourage them responding to their name kapag tinawag sila. You may want to watch that also. Ang skill ng following commands can really show us kamusta na ba yung receptive language skills ng anak ko. So going back to that, I explained a little bit of receptive language skills in episode 1, but also the episode about how to check what your child understands with this activity. But that episode was more about recognizing objects and the words that we use to label those objects. This is a few steps back from that. So from as early as 6 months old, nung anak nyo, nakaka-recognize na yan ng mga verbalization nyo or yung mga sinasabi nyo. And like I said, that skill is shown kapag nag-respond na sila to their name by either moving their eyes to kung saan nila narinig yung sound or talagang paglingon kapag tinawag nyo sila. By around 8 months old, sunod-sunod na yan. You can expect them to understand more and more words. For example, kapag sinabi nyo, wait!
No!
Wag! Ito ay mga examples of inhibitory words or inhibitory commands. At isa yan sa mga unang natututunan nilang sundin kapag sinabi natin. Paano natin malalaman kung naiintindihan nila yung mga inhibitory commands na yon? Is kapag kunyari may ginagawa sila or may kukunin silang baso tapos natatakot kang mabasag niya yon, pag sinabi niyong no or huwag, talaga mapapatigil sila, mapapapause sila dun sa ginagawa nila. And that's one way you can tell na, nagigets na niya kapag sinabi kong no or stop. Siyempre, meron ding factor na baka dahil sa pagkasabi nyo, nagulat sila. Kunyari, sobrang lakas, no! Or, wag! So, siyempre, mapapatigil sila kasi nagulat sila. But if you think you've said the word enough, na yung word mismo yung na-recognize nila, then that's already a form of following commands. By around 10 months old, usually ready na yan mag-follow ng one-step commands. Some examples of one-step commands ay yung mga, kiss mama. Tapos ilalapit na nila yung bibig nila sa cheek nyo or sa mukha nyo. Kapag sabi mong hug, tapos i-open na nila yung arms nila, tapos itatry ka nilang i-hug. Or kapag nasa kabilang side ka ng bed or nasa kabilang side ka ng kwarto, tapos sabi mong, come! Or halika! Tapos makikita mo na they're going to try to crawl to where you are. So those are examples of one-step commands. Some of the more common commands also na natututunan nila first ay yung mga, say bye-bye. Tapos mag-wave sila, bye-bye. Kapag napapansin nyo na nakakasunod na sila dun sa mga one-word, one-step commands nyo, yung mga one-step command, pwede nyo namang dagdagan ng detalye. Touch nose! So, hindi na lang siya one word. You have the action of touch and you have kung saan sila magta-touch, which is the nose. It's still just one step, pero you have more details in your command. Kasi kung mapapansin mo, iba naman ang touch nose sa kunyari, hit nose. So, iba naman yun, diba? Or kiss nose, iba din yun. So, kung gusto mo rin malaman kung ano yung mga separate words na naiintindihan ng anak nyo, you can try different actions or different body parts. So, mapapansin nyo, baka naman kapag sinabi nyo lang nose, yun din yung action na gagawin niya kasi yun palang ang alam niyang gawin. So, those are some things to consider when you're seeing, alam na ng anak ko itong level ng command na to. By around 24 months or their second birthday, ine-expect naman natin na makakasunod na sila ng mga two-step commands. Touch your head and jump up and down. So, meron ka ng touch your head, one step, and then jump up and down, second step.
Let me see you 1, 2 step.
So, ang mga prerequisites naman nito, aside from knowing the meaning of touch, knowing the meaning of head, and knowing the meaning of jump, and if you want to add up and down, there's also that aspect kasi pwede rin namang mag-jump side to side. So, kailangan yung command nyo na iintindihan niya individually yung mga words na ginagamit mo. And kapag 2 steps na yung command nyo and you want them to do it in sequence, dapat meron na rin silang konsepto of ano muna and then ano yung susunod. So, you may also want to try to include these words like first, next, and then, etc. And from that, I'm going to talk about the requisites of following commands. Meaning, ano yung kailangan, meron na silang skills bago sila makapag-follow ng commands. First of all, they have to have enough attention to focus on what you're saying. Ano ba yung command mo? And if they're trying to learn a new action for the first time, dapat napapanood rin nila yung pagkagawa mo. Kasi yan, meron din yung attention to detail. So, kunwari nga, sinabi mo, touch nose. Eh, sa pagkakasabi mo ng touch nose, nawala yung attention nila at narinig lang nila touch. Ang ginawa nila, eyes. So, hindi na agad enough yung attention nila to listen to the whole command with the details of touch and nose. Longer sustained attention is more important kapag more than one step or more than one detail na yung command natin. And then, we have to take into consideration their working memory. Kung pagkakasabi mo ng command, again, the example is touch nose, maaalala ba nila yung touch nose a few seconds later? Or pagkarinig nila, whoops, nakalimutan na nila agad. So, we have to consider if naaalala nila yung sinabi mo. This is especially important to remember kapag yung command na binigay nyo ay hindi niya mapoperform kung nasaan siya mismo. For example, things like, oh, get mo cellphone. Pero yung cellphone nandun sa kabilang kwarto pa. So, maaalala ba niya pagpunta sa kabilang kwarto na ang kukunin niya ay cellphone at hindi susi? And then, nabanggit ko na kanina, they have to have the receptive language vocabulary na ginamit mo sa command. So, yung words na ginamit nyo, whether one word yan or in the phrase, ay alam na nila yon individually para magawa nila ng tama. And then another thing na nabanggit ko na rin kanina when dealing with 2 or multi-step commands is, can they sequence the commands in the order na sinabi mo, in the order that you said them. And then there's also the factor of coordination. So what if naaalala nila, touch head and jump? So nag-touch sila ng head pero for some reason, di nila masabay yung jump. Tapos kunyari, shoulders lang nila yung gumagalaw, hindi nila ma-jump yung feet nila. So there's also that motor component. So how do we begin teaching following commands? Or kung napapansin nyo na yung anak nyo, ay shucks, parang 3 years old na siya pero hirap pa rin siyang mag-follow ng one-step command. Here are some tips para mapasunod natin sila or ma-encourage yung learning nila of how to follow commands. So, taking from the prerequisite skills, sinabi ko kailangan merong enough joint attention. So, you can take tips from my video on responding to name. But also, ano ba yung lagi kong tip is to be animated. Be enthusiastic and make it fun. So, kapag nakita niya na excited ka yung mata mo, you're treating it like a game or an activity, mas nakaka-engage yun sa kanila and it will really keep their attention and it will make them want to participate and play with you. At dahil sinabi ko, reliant ito on the vocabulary that they already understand, we have to make sure that before we give that type of command, na we already demonstrate the action with enough of the verbal command and gestures na magkasabay. So let's pretend you're trying to teach the one-step command, which is kiss. Then you need to show it in different ways para mas marami siyang ma-associate with it. So for example, ito yung baby ko, tapos ituturo ko pa lang yung kiss sa kanya. So every time hahalikan ko siya, sasabihin ko muna yung word na kiss or halikan or halik. So for example, sabihin ko, kiss! Kiss! Tapos kabilang pisngi naman, kiss! kiss ka ni mommy. Mwah, kiss. Pwede ring sabihin mo, kiss. Tapos ibibring mo ngayon ng mouth ni baby sa cheek mo or sa lip mo para mag-gets niya na, ako naman yung nag-kiss kay mommy. So, pwedeng iganyan-ganyan mo yung mukha niya sa cheek mo. Tapos, every time gawin mo yun, sabi mo, kiss, sarap. Kiss pa ulit. Kiss. And so on and so forth. Next is you have to remember to keep it as simple as it can be for their appropriate level. So if you are teaching one-step commands, make sure na one word lang din muna yung mas madalas mong gamitin. Syempre, minsan pwede mong i-vary like I did with a kiss na minsan sasabihin ko, kiss mommy, or sarap kiss. But to make it even simpler, every time sabihin mo yung kiss, yun lang din yung gagawin mo at kiss lang muna yung sasabihin mo para mas ma-isolate niya na, kiss yung ginagawa niya. And don't forget to pause or wait for their response. Baka naman iniisip pa lang nila kung paano nila gagawin yung command mo, ginawa mo na agad. So again, we have to watch out for that or about over-serving our children. So you may want to look back on my episode where I talk about the zone of proximal development or scaffolding. Because you want to make sure that you're giving them enough of a challenge but not too much na madi-discourage sila. So kunwari nag-pause ka because you're waiting for them to respond. Pero napapansin mo na parang 3 seconds na wala pa siyang ginagawa, that's when you can do the gesture or the demonstration again. Kasi kung baka naman masyadong matagal tayong maghintay, baka naman isipin niya, hindi ko nga kaya so you teach me. And that's it for today. Gusto ko lang i-highlight na following commands is so important because it is one of the first indicators of good receptive language na naiintindihan ka na nila. And what it just means is that they're going to try to act on your request or the request from others. Kahit hindi manggaling sa kanila yung want to do the action, magagawa nila on command. So that is a different skill completely from doing it spontaneously by themselves. Aside from mapapadali yung mga gawain nyo sa bahay, for example, sa isang sabi mo lang ng, toothbrush na, pupunta na sila by themselves to the bathroom. O, diba? Napakadali kapag naturuan mo na silang mag-follow ng commands. Also, mauutos-utusan mo na sila. Please get my wallet on the table. And later on, of course, this is very helpful for school preparedness, academic preparation ito. Kasi sa school, ang dami-dami ng instructions na kailangan nilang sundin. Like go to your seat, sit down, join circle time, and other activities that they might need to follow like let's write, let's cut, let's paste. Most importantly, it makes them functional human beings. Because that's also very important socially. Diba? Sometimes, ganun tayo makipaglaro with our playmates. We give and receive instructions. So, minsan ikaw yung magsasabing, get mo yun, tapon mo yung sand dun sa truck. Or minsan ikaw naman yung uutusan ng kalaro mo, like, tago ka dun para hindi tayo makita. And some other time, I will give you some of my favorite activities for working on following commands. But for now, you may leave me a message for any clarifications or questions. Facebook and Instagram at Teacher Kaye Talks. And minsan naglilibreng konsulta din ako sa aking Kumu at Teacher Kaye. And hanggang sa muli, happy talking and mabuhay!